Hello, welcome to MTG Specs. I am Lee, and today we are going to be taking a look at what happens when you take Kumena Tyrant to Razka, but give her the Naya treatment with Baylen the Haymaker. Every single card in this build creates a token when you cast it, or has the potential to create a token. The ramp, the draw, the removal, which means we can take full advantage of Baylen the Haymaker's abilities to tap 2 to create mana, to tap 3 to draw cards, or to tap 4 to make him a very big bunny wielding a scythe. This deck outpaces other opponents' mana, we draw more cards than them, and everything just leads up to one great big Voltron smackdown. This deck generates 31 different tokens, and those tokens all help with our game plan. They protect our commander, they impulse draw, they create creatures so we can go wide as a backup plan. I've concentrated on early token generation, especially spells that create multiples like Saproling Migration, which has an alt kicker cost, and Join the Dance, which has flashback, making both relevant later in the game. Generic fodder spells like Krenko's Command, Hop to It, and Forbidden Friendship, and ramp pieces like Gilded Goose and Strike It Rich, all with the aim to have 2 to 3 tokens in play when Baylen arrives, so we can tap 2 and add 1 mana of any colour, or tap 3 to draw a card. But what we really want is repeatable token generation, so cards like Scoot Swarm, Ascend to Avernus, and Gilwain Casting Director are 3 mana drops that keep us dangling the carrot of Baylen's victory throughout. The royal tokens Gilwain creates are tappable aura tokens, and a royal token keeps Baylen safe from being watership down. Scoot Swarm and Ascend to Avernus have such a high ceiling with exponential token generation that if left unchecked, we will soon be piling multiples of 3 +1/+1 counters onto Baylen for the Voltron smackdown. If Avernus is getting out of control, we can target it with our own aura mutation and create 3 Saproling tokens. In fact, all of the 10 removal pieces we run create tokens as per the mission statement of the deck, whether that be treasure after using the fight spell Prize Fight, multiple spirits after exiling a graveyard, or just gathering a big pile of rocks to throw at people. Season of the Burrow is an all-star in this deck. Baylen is going to be the new kill on sight commander, so it's good to have removal, token generation, and recursion on one card. Bumbleflower's Sharepot is also flavourful, food generating fun, ready to take out a non-land permanent when we have access to 5 mana. And you know what gives us access to 5 mana? Baylen and all those tokens we create, including the food we created with the pot. Delicious. Speaking of Scoot Swarm, we run ramp like Return from the Wilds and Growth Spasm, put a basic into play and a token. Hopefully Scoot and Togo are out to trigger and make a rock and an insect, and I haven't shied away from the staples. Dockside and Smothering Tithe make sense here. If they are out of budget, check out the shortlist for alternatives in the description. Alongside these, the Fallout gift that keeps on giving, Nuka-Cola Vending Machine. We have lots of food tokens which will be replaced with treasure if we need a snack. Other notable cards include Awaken the Woods. Let's put Baylen's mana production and our treasures into X and create X forest tokens. Everything is always moving Baylen forward. The draw is made up of red standard, discard a card, draw 2 and create treasures, soldiers and roll tokens, and if you don't need to draw and want more tokens, Words of Wilding can replace that draw with a 2/2 bear. In fact, once we hit a high volume of resources, remembering that tokens can tap for mana, why not start stacking lands with Goblin Trenches for 2 Goblin tokens, or paying 1 to discard all those cards we have drawn with Saproling Cluster. In the mid to late game, Tendershoot Dryad and Illustrious Wanderglyph threaten a go-wide win with Saprolings and Gnomes, and one rotation of the table is 4 new tokens to tap to add +1 counters to Baylen. People are really going to want to kill Baylen, aren't they? Thankfully, alongside Gilwain, we have the adventure part of Besotted Knight, Betrove the Beast to add Ward 1 to Baylen, and Royal Treatment which gives hexproof while doing the same. A Grand Crescendo that gives everything indestructible and adds citizen tokens to the board, and an Arachnogenesis to deflect big board swings. 2 recur spells, Late Dinner and Revive the Shire, set the table for Baylen's return from the graveyard if he is sent to the Warren in the Sky. And to really push this deck over the top, we have Gilded Pinions and Pollen Bright Wings to give Baylen flying, and then my MVP of the deck, the card I keep taking wins with out of the blue in my Liberty Prime deck, Junk Jet. It enters with a Junk token and has 3 and Sake, Junk, Food, Treasure, whatever artifact token we have lying around to double equip creature's power, and you can do this more than once if you have multiples of 3 mana, which we will have because of all these tokens. Turns out a deck that creates all the mana it wants and draws all the cards it wants is actually very good in Commander. Who knew? Here are some cards that I didn't include in my brew because of my deck building restriction that you might like to include in your Baylen build. The Reaver Cleaver, Big Bunny, make lots of money. Ancient Gold, Ancient Copper Dragons, top end flying monstrosities that could net you up to 20 new tokens on dealing combat damage. Jaheira, Friend of the Forest, and Inspiring Statuary. Baylen's first ability is good, but 1-for-1 mana generation is better. Ginny Faye, Bring an Umbrella, It's Raining Cats and Dogs, instant go wide board. Cards that let you sack a huge Baylen for loads of tokens, so when you recast him, he has even more tokens to make him even bigger. Adipose Offering and Feed the Pack, Spring to Mind. Stormherd, in a deck with more focused ramp, Stormherd is the win more spectacle play. You've probably won when you cast it, but 20 plus tokens means you have a sky full of Pegasi to back up your bunny. There and back again, many hoops to jump through, 3 chapters and offering the dragon somehow, but 14 treasure tokens is fun. It's probably not worth it for a competitive match, but I doubt you're here on MTG Specs for competitive decks. And of course, doubling season, Mondrak, Parallel Lives, all of those token doublers and triplers that I have in far too many of my other decks, so I haven't included them here, but they will be ridiculous in Baylen. Baylen is an open-ended dream. There are so many different types of tokens you could build this with. Blood tokens, gnomes, constructs, spirits, angels, cats, dogs. The world is your token oyster and Baylen is your best bud. And if you like token decks, you might like my Bernard deck, which is also on the channel, which creates lots of tokens that end up being golems and food, which would work with Baylen as well. Oh, Displaced Dinosaurs, that's a good card for when you're creating lots of artifacts. Anyhow, check that out and that might inspire you for this Baylen build. If you've enjoyed this humble free content today, a like and subscribe would mean the world to me. I will be back soon with upgrades and reviews for all 4 of the Commander decks, just like I did with the Fallout precons, and you might enjoy watching those as well. They were quite popular. I'm also going to be bringing a Zoraline deck tech to you soon. That'll be winging its way to you soon. Winging your way, very clever. And also, something else. Oh, we're filming a precon match on MTG Spectacular. So we have MTG Spectacular, our gameplay series that you might like to check out as well. Go and enjoy those things, and I will see you again in the week. Until then, I have been Lee, and this has been MTG Specs.